What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? The weekend too fucking short, man. Too goddamn short, bro. It's all good though. What picture? All right. What it do? Get out of here, dude. Give me 1 second, y'all. Me? No. Should I rewatch your list from Friday or whatever they make? Yeah, I would definitely watch my last Friday's YouTube will be slightly different from today. What's up, y'all? I wish I could share the music, but I can't. Because TikTok said no. No look. I swear to God that went in. Over my monitor. Disgusting. So I have a list of ERs. MU. Yeah, we'll take a look at it, guys. I want to take a look at why are some plays for tomorrow? Same reasons why some plays are for Friday. Where's Anakin at? I don't know where Anakin is. Maybe he'll come in here. All I have is I have this like a baby. That's Pearl. Yeah, she tells Alla that I'm nice. I'm not live on Discord now. I would do the live on Discords, but I mean, we've had Sundays get a little loud. She's mad chill. Yeah, she's mad chill. What colored Jose? All right. So let's hit the record button here. Ah, there's the band hammer again. Does not contain what is mentioned in the live. The kind that goes to pair. That's actually crazy. Okay. Let's take a look at the few. Oh, I can't see that. I had a feeling that was gonna bounce here. Okay, so we need to get rid of that, and we need to look at that. What is above us? Huh. So we had a quick sharp pop up, and it's kind of, I mean, it is making a base, but I still think that there could be a nice juicy leg down. Still see that too. Yeah, they're going to save that for Monday. They might pop it up and retest some of that floor up there. But all right, so do I suggest staying on one chart or ticker, or just trading it until you kind of master the PBS? No, I do not, because that's not what you're going to do when you get to, you know, this level, or when you're independent. You know, you're going to be looking for good setups, because sometimes once you play something, once that empty space is gone, we keep it pushing. I mean, at least I do. I try not to get stuck to stocks. They don't care about me. I don't care about them. I'm just there to make money and get out. All right. So, to start this week off, I do want to go over a couple of things here. I believe we brushed over this last Friday. You're welcome to go watch that back. You know, make sure you guys are subscribed and stuff to the YouTube channel. If not, it's a pretty boring week. We don't really have a ton going on. Of course, Trump could change that every single day of the week, but ISM services are Tuesday, and then unemployment claims on Thursday. So really nothing special there. We also have, and I'll see if I can find it really quickly. Yeah, we also have earnings this week. Some of the bigger names, and I'll read this off so you guys can actually, you know, screen record this or something. But we have gone through this, you know, to kind of highlight the ones that are going to be more interesting and what contracts we might want to select. PLTR, HIMS, XOM, or XOM, Lemonade, SMCI, Upstart, Shop, Disney, Dave, McDonald's, SIM, Duolingo, FTNT, DKNG, QBTS, TTD, RKLB, Sound, XYZ, and Team. So, yeah, I do mean the fake. Yeah, we do have fake data, and that's something that, you know, again, that's I've been watching that a lot. I've been hearing a lot of quantitative firm owners complain, saying, you know, how the fuck am I supposed to run a whole model off of economic data when the economic data is just a projection of what Trump wants it to be? But anyway, that's our earnings for this week. And again, there's some other ones, but as far as the ones that I read out to you are the ones that look interesting to us, and then those are the ones that we're going to filter through the contract filter and see if we can find contracts that are good on them. Because if it doesn't have good contracts or low risk reward, it's not my problem. All right. So that being said, we're opening up with futures, not really changing much. Now, the rules of a punchback after a massive leg down there, right? They don't necessarily bend, but it doesn't mean that we can't go back up and retest some of the things within the box that could actually give us a retest, right? So one of those areas, or one of the, hold on one second, let me change this. Okay, sorry. But anyway, that being said, we are bouncing off of the floor on NQ, so look for retest around 22 or 23, excuse me, 22, 944, somewhere right in the median is where we're looking at a potential retest, including on the higher time frame. And it is possible if you move down fast, you'll have lightning fast retests. Sometimes right at the bell, it'll rip really fast, leave empty space behind, and come right back down. Now, that's all we can do for now. So we can make plans on what we want to do below that and targets that we have below this and where things can retest, and we can trade around those things. Well, a lot of us also grabbed hedges on the Qs or IWM or SPY just in case we did see some sort of reversal. But with NQ, I still see a target down below right around 22.6. And again, we'll correlate with that with the with the QQQ. But ES, that one didn't really move too much, but it did wick off of, and this is one of the issues here, it did wick off of cost basis underneath us. So that one actually does have more of a lineup to potentially go and retest up. Again, these are things that we can look at in the morning. Well, you can look at in the morning. And while I'm saying that tomorrow is my my kids' first day of school, my daughter and my son, I always walk them in, and I'm going to do that tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll be tomorrow morning. I'll be not there at the bell, but if you guys are in the Discord, as soon as I get back home, I'll hop right back in. But I'll be watching. Trust me. If I can, I'll post some analysis beforehand. But yeah, I gotta go make memories, have memories. Got to be a part of it. So, all right. Anyway, you guys can take that for what it's worth. You know, again, make boxes. Hourly time frame is going to be a great place to do that. There's a box up above. There's empty space beyond that. You guys are more than capable, if you're in my Discord, of doing this on your own. Talk to one another. Yeah, my kids do go to school tomorrow. Talk to one another, of course. But anyway, that being said, last one we're going to take a look at is RTY, which again, we're not really seeing too much. It did gap down from the close and is wicked off of that, but this one had so much structure underneath it. It in fact dipped all the way down to go hit this block underneath here and then pulled itself back up. So that one wasn't really as exciting. And honestly, if you end up going red on any sort of downside swings, out of all the ETFs, I think RTY, risk to reward wise, could be a good straight up day trade to the upside when and where that retest does occur. So that one does actually look pretty good. Watch for 2189 to be that signal. So anyway, we had a pretty big leg down next week. We'll see if that momentum bleeds into this week. But as far as I'm concerned, again, we're just going to map that out tomorrow morning. Yeah, thank you guys for tapping your screen. Appreciate it. All right, so I have we'll call it a relatively empty-ish playlist, or playlist. Look at me, dude. Watch list going in. We have a lot of earnings, and those are going to be interesting, especially with the market turning down. One of the trades that I do want to cover really quickly that I still have a piece of is Snow. Now, this one you could call it already, you know, basically successful, but there's still more money to be made on Snow. I'm hyper fixated on this one because it just has one more signal to go. I'm looking for a break below 202.36. Obviously, with the ETFs not gapping down, that's going to make my job a little bit harder. But I have levels above us that I want to stay below. One of those levels is 206.75. Second level is going to be a max 208.80. But if we can get a punch down and a gap fill around 197, all that empty space down there to 185 is wide the fuck open. And one thing I want to say before I move on and take your guys' request is when we're moving down this fast, and even if you go back to COVID, there were disgusting retests that happened fast to the upside before we continued down. So I do see more downside, but that does not mean whatever you believe or want to happen is not analysis. Focus on the chart this week especially, because Monday, Tuesday could be just little bits of sideways action before we continue melting down. Well, maybe that's data-led or whatever they use to narrate that, but... All right, so let's go ahead and have you guys drop your requests. I am going to fixate or focus on the ones that kind of let me know what it is that you're looking for. If you don't tell me what you're looking for, then how the fuck am I supposed to give you good analysis? I want to give you good analysis so that you can actually use it and, you know, chart around it. So let me know why you're looking at it. You know, if I just chart something for you and tell you where it goes up or down, that doesn't really help you, doesn't help me. Unless you're trading it both ways, then. All right, HIMS down. So this one has earnings this coming up this week, and so that is I mean, it is possible. And I'm gonna give you a target here that I think this thing could hit in the days following earnings, because right now you are going into earnings sitting directly up at the top. with 3 rejections below you. You also do not have a ton of volume underneath you, so dropping down even through this box right here would more than likely shuffle you down to 29.50. That's a long fucking ways away. That's $30, right? So that's a $30 drop. I don't expect for that to happen immediately, but I would be looking at a leg down to 37.50 first. That being said, this thing could also absolutely rip ass to the upside because it is up against the highs, right? Even if that means it's just 85, which is the price target that I would have for that. So, what the hell? Can you guys hear me all right? Does my mic sound weird? Okay. I didn't see the flashing. It was weird. Okay. All right. So that's hymns. Definitely on the watch list. You know, I do think it looks pretty good. But anyway, that's it. Can't Tully see chart? You can't see the chart? What do you mean? Is that better? Oh, sorry. Actually, it's probably good that I do that. Yeah, hymns could. I mean, honestly, here's what'll dictate whether or not I want to get into hymns because I do like something that is up against resistance. It's either going to blow up in the highs or it's going to blow people out of the water. Because at the highs, a lot of times that's where people sell, and of course, if bad news comes, then we can expect that. That being said, it's all going to be based off of whether the contracts are under 30 bucks. You know, this will be on. Yes, this will be on YouTube. All right, so we got hymns. In you down to 1150. I mean, I think that's a little short. That yes, that is a floor for sure. Um, so yeah, that would be a good target, and I think it's just 1190 that is standing in your way. But you could definitely see runners down to 11 flat, man. Hey. All right. Um, MU down. So I definitely see this one, and this is obviously going to be market led, but MU has a straightforward leg down to 99.50, but it is sitting on top. So you need to have a plan, and I can help you with that plan right here with a 30-second explanation. Literally use this box. That is going to be your main thing there. On the 30-minute, you know, it stays the same. The 15-minute stays the same. So if you leg down, listen, I'm going to say this because I got to say it. If we leg down tomorrow or whatever day that we do leg down, if it happens fast, I mean this for real. When it hits its target, absolutely I'm going to be bouncing that. You know what I mean? Just off a premise. 3 big consecutive leg down, yeah, you're going to probably bounce. All right. What I think about trip up to 2250 for earnings. I thought it looked good before the pullback. Oh my God. Well, you are leaving behind a ton of empty space. Now I like it when you come out of consolidation, preferably. That's my preference. Hold on one second. I'll be back. All right. Anyway, I had to move that thing down. All right, so we got I mean, again, you know, I like when you have consolidation going into earnings. It really helps. I could see a wick or possibly a tap up on 1750. But yeah, I mean, losing that honestly, maybe and let's see, I've got it. Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. This one could even take us. I mean, it could continue moving down all the way to 1350. It's interesting setup though. For sure set an alert at 1850 whenever that gets there. So Tesla up. So right now you are in limbo, and of course the market is likely going to lead this in a certain direction. You had a perfect bounce off of 297.50 for Tesla, which was the floor. Directly underneath that, you're going to have a 291.50 target underneath you, and at that point, I think Tesla is likely going to fall. That being said, if you are looking at any sort of upside, it's going to be a lot more difficult, but you can start right here. On the 2 hour, you have a perfect little range. So if you can get outside of 308.12, that could be a good play to the upside for sure. Absolutely. I mean, it looks fine. Looks great. You've got empty space in the most recent price action. So, I would be looking at 312.50 and possibly 318.50. So fix up. So again, if you're new here, or maybe you already know this, if this is at all-time highs, there's very little I can do to help you. I feed off of structure, and once we're in all-time highs, there's nothing left to feed off of other than what's underneath you. So unless you're looking to short this thing down, I have, nothing, not negative. I don't have anything negative to say, but you need to measure out where your floor is. You can go to the hourly. It looks like it's 675. I would say, yeah, look for some profit taking at some point for sure. GitLab up. And those of you guys who don't have any requests or whatever, this is time that you could use building a watch list or charting alongside me, getting better. Oof. So this is obviously rough. There's a floor directly underneath us at 40.50. That is one of the only floors left. On Friday, you pushed down. Honestly, I would be looking at 40.50 as a potential bounce level. But you're yeah, I would say 40.50, 40.60 are going to be the two levels, but at the same time, I mean, you're hurtling to the downside. So, all right. And I'll let you guys know if one of these setups stands out to me, or looks really good, then okay, so this is one that you're going to flip upside down, right? Because honestly, it's probably just going to make your life a whole lot easier. So, box right here. So your mid punch down. So there is a pocket of empty space right in here. So I mean, personally, I think that underneath set or 781 should be your go ahead to sink. There is going to be an imbalance in there, and that should be right here at 705. So AA on up. Keep it simple, brother. Over that wall at 84.35, you have I mean, I'll set an alert on that too. It looks great, but it just needs to break over that, and earnings is coming up. So that could be the catalyst to get you there. Taking it easy this week, thanks to you and the PBS. Do you have a good week last week, man? Man, I tell you what, if I was a bragging type, I would show off more of the messages I get in my DMs, dude. Whenever I have bad days, dude, I just look at those messages. It's awesome, especially after the last month, man. Pretty cool. Um, show my message. I don't know if I want to. You're in Cabo this weekend? Oh, Jose, I'll show them your DMs right now, dude. Everybody needs to see that. Everybody deserves to see what I'm subjected to. All right, keep dropping those requests, guys. You had a bad month last month? No, I had last month was yeah, the best month of my career. Um, mm, I think February or was it March was a competitor, but yeah. No, you're good. I was just all right. Let's yeah. Please let me know which direction you are looking at, and I will. I those are the ones I'm focused on. Inbis. So this is a simple chart, right? This is a simple chart because everything that you need to know is being told, right? It's clear. Right now, you need a candle close on the 4 hour above 56, above 56.45. I would say also you have a lot of heavy resistance here. This, honestly, man, not to go against you, but this is actually kind of an attractive short trade. And, I'll explain why in about a minute, right? So, box floor here, directly underneath you, empty space, fast falling, gap fill. Gap fill is under the floor. The floor is at 47, right? That opens up a potential target all the way down at 41. So honestly, I might short that thing if it loses its floor. Inbis makes the watch list, unfortunately, the opposite way that you have it. No, I'm not saying that in any type of way, but and because of where it's at, it does not. What I say is not true yet until that floor is lost, and it could reverse and go back up. But with that last rejection that I saw, multiple rejections off the top. So NVTS saying it's the new PLTR. Well, it's a semiconductor corporation, so that's going to be hard. But uh, I know a lot of people are looking for other semiconductors. But I can say this: you did go fill your gap, and you are up against that wall. Or we'll kind of split in the middle of it. What are you touching? What is it hitting? It's hitting this tiny ass little box, which basically in turn is separating you from a breakout over 1067 up to 1445. So, yeah, Disney is actually on my watch list. Where the fuck did I just put that pin? All right. So anyway, the overall target here from where it's at is yes, right over at 1081 and then possibly up to 1421. So Disney, yeah. So Disney is potentially going to be on my watch list. Now, one thing I can, and this is subject to change, folks, because we have been inside of this monthly box now for since July of 2022. And, part of me goes and, okay, well, you have a monthly gap, right? So I personally think watch 1445 or $15, because both ways of this trade. I mean, downside, obviously, there's a ton of empty space. We know that Disney will rip through that or dump through that. See empty space here, dump right there. So yes, there is a play down, but there is also the play up, and that would take us all the way to 130. So how far out or how long do you hold your contracts for? So my favorite trade or my preferred trade is the one that I buy at the end of the day or possibly around midday, and I hold it till the next day. And typically around 10:30 I'm selling those contracts. Now, certain setups require or ask longer expirations because there's more resistance in front of me and I have to prepare for that via expiration. But I it is setup based, but on a regular basis, I'm trading uh, shorter expiration contracts overnight. Um, just like basically swinging them into a day trade. Would I hedge Disney if I took it? Yes. I'm gonna grab water, guys. My fucking What was that video, bra, of 30K percent trade? Can you break down how you found it? How did I find KSS? Um, really simple. I'll explain it to you in about 5 seconds. So, area of consolidation, base, right here. This is where typically, when you hit a low, right, this is where volume starts to increase. Now, I was not aware of the short volume, and the play that I wanted was basically a punch or a move through this empty space rapidly. And I was just taking this trade outside of $10, right? That was my logic. Now, it did consolidate for a couple of days before leaving, so this gave us time to grab those contracts. And then my second target, or where I was going to leave my runners, was all the way up to 1275. So the planned trade was to take it from here to here to here, right? And that was to trim at each one. But of course, this one, we just take, this is just the subject, just the product of being in the right place. Fast movement or squeeze like movement happens in areas that look, I mean, seriously, I don't trade anything else. It looks like this or I don't trade it. And that's up or down. Even if you were to trade this below, the top of this right there, you could have traded this one down. Same concept, empty space. But that being said, I didn't know that this was going to squeeze. But was KSS my biggest earning of all time? Like my biggest money gain or percentage gain? Percentage gain, no. Money gain, yes. That was definitely a out of the ordinary lump sum of cash. So I would say percentage rise rivaled, some of my bigger trades, of course. But all right, Disney strikes would be from 130 to 105. Yeah, down up. I think with Disney, it might, if you can get a closer expiration, even at the gap fill right here at 106. I love that six-figure smirk you gave. Um, yeah, we can. Uh, or I might do that in a call with you actually. All right, keep dropping the requests, guys. Milk, what do you want to do with Pan W? So this one, I'm assuming, rather maybe hoping that you're looking at this one to the upside, right? And the way that we typically look for these trades to set off is by breaking over the same resistances that they are held under. And so because these wicks are all coming off of the same mark, I'm going to give them that wick, and that's going to be 175. So step one is to get a candle close or open or break out of 175. 4-hour confirms my theory that that is where we're being held down. I go to the 2-hour. This also confirms my theory. I go to the 1-hour. This also confirms my theory, but raises the price up to 176. So if you're looking for a lower time frame entry, it'd probably be somewhere around there. Now, obviously, the play potential here is a reclaim of 178.55 and a move up into that empty space where you'll find yourself touching this range at 182.25 and possibly cost basis at 183.75. How many contracts do I typically buy? My goal typically is to have around 50 contracts of whatever it is that I'm getting in. You know, that's my goal. 50 contracts is kind of a comfy spot for me. But I will tell you this. It absolutely has to do with what that play provides. KSS or, even like night, the contracts can be cheap enough for me to grab 100 or 200 contracts. But it's all adherent to my risk. A lot of you who have, even $10,000 or $5,000 accounts, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be buying more than 20, or 30 contracts, especially if the price is right. It's not, I don't even look at it. I look at it like the dollar amount because a lot of the times what I'm spending, like I might spend $800 to $900 on like a, high conviction speculative play. That's what most people would actually put into a day trade for 3 contracts while I have 100. My risk, my leverage, everything is, way better. especially swinging, overnight with. Yeah. So, am I using a scanner to find these plays? We are the scanner. You are currently inside of said scanner. What's an attractive contract price? Attractive contract price for me is somewhere between $25 and $5. I mean, shit, I'll take it lower, $3 or $4, $2. Um, but I would say about, I'll take a 30 or 50 or $40 contract, but yeah, the preference is like 25. So I only get 3 to 4 contracts. Yeah, we got to bump that shit up. I'm telling you guys, it's a whole different world, especially if you stop looking at it from contract. Look at it how much you're risking. If your risk is 100, right, and you can buy, if you can buy 50 contracts, $2 whatever, $2 contracts for $50 on a weekly play that's, you're swinging it from Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday, like that's something that, again, what are you putting in risk wise, not contract wise? Your style is more swing trading, or you take some day trades like scalps? So I am you could say like a Swiss Army trader. I will do. Um, so for example, we swung IWM down, and then traded IWM back up. So like yes, do I day trade? In some of these pockets of empty space, yes. And I usually will coach people through that, but my day trading is rare because at the end of the day, and this is something I'm trying to nail home for everybody, this is not my opinion. Not 80 to 90% of the market movement happens overnight. And then at the bell, it's so illogically hard to catch with a good entry that it puts us in a position to sell it to people who are chasing. Like eventually, and I can tell you this now. This is good, brother, my brother in Christ. So I can. I'm not going to say I can tell the future, but I can tell you guys right now where the day trade is right now on the cues. Now, I don't know necessarily how we're going to react to 551.81, but I can tell you this: there is a beautiful day trade setup on the cues already. 1, 2. If we gap down to 551, they might wick it, get that liquidity, and they'll pop it back up. Now, step 1, 554.40. Fill up. Now, this is a range, not a box. This is a box. That is a range, right? You might be asking, well, how the fuck are we supposed to tell the difference? Watch. 1, 2, and then up here we have 1, 2, right? I guess I could probably give that a little bit less, but you have multiple points of contact. Here you have one bounce, a wick up top, and then you just flush, right? So it makes it more of a range. It's easier to move through. That being said, if you were to take this day trade, right, it would set you up for an astonishing gain because the bounce inside of a bear market is always devastating, right? And it always flips heads and makes people think that we're going to reverse. But right there, that pocket and this gap fill, these triggers right here will fire you up into that 563. So there's a day trade there. If I can see it now, then I'll take it later. Why? Because the risk is probably going to be low. Nobody's going to be buying the 563s. If we dip down into the lows, I could take it when it reclaims the floor, use that as my stop loss, and let that motherfucker ride. I can buy it for the next day, so that way I have some time underneath my belt, and then buy weekly contracts underneath that for a shorter strike, so that way I can trim those out as we hit the floors, because again, until these triggers fire, I don't know. But that's that is where I can set up a day trade. If I can see it, then and it provides a good risk to reward, then sure. But one thing that I will say is if you're new and you're trying to make sure that you're making money, stick to one thing. Stick to swinging overnight. Stick to making money that way until you get enough capital under your belt that you can throw 100 or $200 at this shit. But there are levels to this shit, you know what I mean? So if you're struggling on the 24-hour where everything moves slow, then how do you think you're going to do on a time frame that moves fast? Probably a little rough, right? All right, so let's take a look at the weekly on CMG because this is going to kind of help us navigate here. So first off, you have a ton of empty space below you, right? And this thing could see a drop all the way to $39. Now I am going to recognize the previous price targets that we've used before, like 41.50 and 40.50 as two areas. Now 40.50 will be an imbalanced target right there. And that's where again, this is not a box. This is a box that you already punched through. I'm just using the same levels, right? So just in the same way that you would say, well, if I break out and took my play over the top and it comes back down to retest, right? Or comes back down to cost basis to retest, underneath that, that would be my stop loss. So like in the same, we're moving back down. We haven't come back here since we broke out. So the same price targets still hold volume, 41.75 and 40.50. Yes, this will be on YouTube. As long as this shit doesn't crash. All right. Keep dropping your requests. The next day I like to buy a call or a put. Like, do I buy a call or a put? What do you mean? So if you buy a contract around the last 15 minutes before closing, how do you know if it's going up or down? So that is what my system is trying to teach you. Is we take trades based off of candle closes, right? And what's been lost. So taking a short on IWM, right, overnight can be, again, this just goes straight into my system. If you break out of something, which you did, and then you fall back under and you move through the 50% mark, more than likely you're going to go to the floor, right? Or excuse me, more than likely you're going to make a new low, which would be all the way back down into this volume. So me seeing the candle close underneath cost basis for the up 1, 2, 3, right? We have multitude of rejections up at the top and we have a floor right here. So I say two, and in fact, I aimed for 218 and got, all this and that. I don't have this up right now. You can put it up though. Let's see here. How to get Kara, limit orders are just the 50%. So if you have a 15 and a $19 contract, they're going to give you like a 17 or an $18. That's your limit. So it's just the bid. What you're trying to buy is you're placing the price right in between the bid and the ask. That's all that limit means. So if you buy it at the bid, right, you're buying it, and again, it depends on which side of the trade you're buying it. You're trying to buy it at the lowest price. If you're buying it at the ask, you're almost guaranteed to get filled because that's what sellers of those contracts are asking for, right? So bidders are putting up their bid for the lowest price they're willing to buy it at, and ask is where they're the highest price. So if you buy it at the limit, you're putting it somewhere in between that bid and ask to hopefully get filled, to appease both sides. That makes sense? Yeah, right here. I think right here. Yeah, 620. Don't just mark it in, Jesse. You don't want to do that. All right. CRWV puts. Yeah, I could see that happening. So let's look at the weekly here. So there's nothing but empty space. So this is definitely a candidate to completely reverse, and I mean that. Coming off of IPO. So what you'll do, and this is one of those ones because you don't have 24-hour clean empty space. I would be in an expiration that gives you at least 3 to 4 weeks. But the entirety of this on the weekly, I guess really we should do it from here. So this is how I would map this out from floor to ceiling. First target 76.50 and then down to 59. IWO, do I like it to go down more? Right now, I am unbiased until the open for tomorrow, Vanka, and that's a good thing, right? We want to right now. So, and I'll explain why I said that. When you don't close underneath, right, where sellers control the price, similar to how you did here, it doesn't give me confirmation that we're going to continue moving down, right? With something like QQQ or SPY, those candle closes on Thursday, those obviously gave us continuation to the downside. This candle here, closing close to the floor and underneath cost basis with empty-ish space underneath me, gave me that confidence, or rather signal, to let me know to swing it down to my target. Now, with what we see here, there is no positive or negative candle close underneath where sellers control the price. So it is absolutely in the cards. It is absolutely in the cards that on Monday, Monday or Tuesday, we see a pop over 216.60 for a gap fill and retest of the box up above. Yeah, replay on YouTube. So, all right, AR, Antero Resources Corporation. And what exactly are you trying to do to this? Because you did fill up some of the empty space above you. You did go and retest the first green candle to your left. There is some remaining empty space up to 36.11. There's also a box underneath you right here, and you're sitting on top of it. So it is absolutely in a position where it needs to go and reverse through the empty space and give you that next leg up. Hopefully, while doing that, giving you a solid uptrend. So maybe a little bit of sideways action in here, but it definitely has the potential to do that. Yeah, and if you're new here and you don't know how my system works and everything that I'm saying sounds like it's fucking Japanese, unless you're from Japan, then it would make perfect sense. But if you're not, then go to my YouTube channel. I have a fuck ton of free information to get you kind of caught up with what we're doing here, what we're looking for here. Option trading Q&As, setups, clear setups that are solo videos, but all of these have shit ton. Make sure to subscribe and all that other shit. We're almost at 15K subscribers on YouTube. I'm basically like Mr. Beast. All right, Jamia earnings is this week. Yes, it is, and it is on the watch list because of that. Right, Jamia is probably going to be pretty cheap. It has a shit ton of empty space to the downside. It has the potential to go up and tap five. I have two levels. I have 550 and I have 525. So there is a potential upside play, but there is also a nasty ass downside play to 362 right here that I see potentially because of that empty space underneath you. So I do like that. Us. If we gap up, am I cutting my Q puts? No. So I did hedge. Well, I mean, if I have an opportunity to, right? If we were to wick down or something and then yank right back up, sure. But when I buy something like this over the weekend, again, if there's going to be a couple different scenarios. If we open up exactly where we're at right now, then I will set a stop loss in pre-market, probably somewhere above 550, 430, and call it there. So yes, I would. If we gap up above my stop loss, then no. Now, I will remind you that I am only putting into these speculative overnight trades what I'm absolutely willing to lose. And I put about 380 bucks into the downside here, and I put about 130 bucks into the upside, right? Focus on the 563 reversal that we see and retest that we're looking at potentially happening, right? More than likely we'll hit 558 first, but you can't set a stop loss on TradeStation like that, not with options. You have to know where you're going to get out, and that's pretty much it. So our hope here is that we just gap down, and that is possible. Between now and the end of the night, we are showing a lot of resilience on the floor, and we did give a third bounce. But I can tell you this, when this breaks, We're moving down. It has already tapped on it 3 times. So if we gap up right here, I would, when that reversal does occur, I think we flush right through. What percentage is a good stop loss? So Zarko, I do not, and this is again, if you're new here, you'll find that I don't agree with 90 fucking percent of the shit that other people have as rules. I do not use percentages as stop losses. I do not like agreeing to losing money on a serious trade before I take it. So my trades, my entries are based off of where mechanically a stock will hold or reject, right? And so they're off of these pinpoints. So let me give you an example of that really quickly. If I decided I wanted to take NQ, right, or NQ, let's say, opened up above 223, so it has a floor underneath it. If I wanted to get into this long, right, I would want, and when I say long, I mean taking it up into this pocket here, up to this floor at 23.25, right? I would want my stop loss to be 23.55, right? I would want it to be the floor or cost basis. And the reason that I say that is because if you recover the floor and you hit cost basis, if you pull back, you're going to bounce off of the floor. So I try to align myself with what's mechanical. So if I know that if the floor is not able to be held, if my stop loss is there and I get a candle close underneath, I might lose a little, but if that's where my entry is, that's typically where I want to get out. So Jamie is just that one of those first resistance AB. It's right here, 520, and then right here you have these candles holding at 550, just right there. All right. Let's keep taking those requests. CCL down. I like the way your mind thinks. That is something that if we continue moving to the downside, we absolutely could see a really nice play on CCL. That is a trade that everybody could look into getting simply because of the low cost. It does have perfect empty space on the 4-hour underneath it as well. So that looks really good. I like that. Yeah, I like that. So I would be looking at the 28.38 and obviously low, the wick low of $28 to give you a straight leg down to 26.35. Now, because of the empty space beyond that, right, and because of what you have underneath you on the 24-hour, it could be 24.50 that you let your runners run into. And you can see that top right here and that imbalance, remember that, well, that's 50% of the way from here to here. That is 26.80. So if you take it, and this is my point, you can be scared. You can be scared all you want, right? Shit. As long as you have a good plan, you can be scared, right? As long as you know where you're getting in and where you're getting out, you can be scared all you want. But at the end of the day, if you have a stop loss at 28, if this thing goes down and bounces off of some obscure 27.80 and reverses, your stop loss is on the floor. So the floor is what needs to be lost. If you can find yourself a better entry, right, a better rejection point like 29.55 and it rejects and falls back under, that's also a good place that you can put your stop loss. So SoFi down. So this is one of those charts that I'm gonna do this, right? We're up at the previous highs. I'm gonna do this. All right, so what are we seeing here? If this was a chart that we were looking at to the downside, right? Now our first rejection or our first reaction to this wall was a harsh rejection, moving all the way from 24.60 all the way down to $21. That's pretty devastating and definitely starts a fear factor. Now, one thing I can also do is go here and look to my left and see the exact level that was lost for SoFi to fall. I would just, oh my God, damn it. It's too fucking easy sometimes, right? And the answers are on the chart. I'll take your indicator and I'll shove it up your ass. I'm sorry. But seriously, this one, sorry. But this actually has a pretty A+ setup if it goes. When you get a chance, will you have time to shoot me a text? We'll make it for you. Switch it with. Oh, shit. Oh, that'd be amazing, man. Yeah, I'll let you up. But anyway, that being said, 2067 is a floor there. This is a good candidate for a short. It is absolutely a good candidate for a short. So we could be looking at two. I would be wanting to take a short, period, end of story, below 2058. I know that there's a flat level that's likely going to bounce at $20. I'll take my chances, right? It just, again, you can be sad about it or you can just stop out and get ready to get back in when the opportunity presents itself. But from that point, I think you take it straight. I mean, honestly, this has a load of potential to take it all the way back down. I mean, this, yeah, 1850 would be a target here. That one absolutely makes the watch list this week. So do we take trades before they trigger? No. So if SoFi does not trigger, then it doesn't become a play. If it does trigger, then it does become a play. And it's just that simple. This looks great. I does anybody in here not understand what the hell I just said? I would buy if we get a candle close. I think if you're taking this one to 1850, 2 weeks out is just fine. But you could also very much be adding above 1980. I mean, shit, you could add weeklies. It's all about where you position yourself. I personally think that if you decide to take it above 26 or yeah, below 2060, you could add weeklies there. They would be higher risk, but the 2 week out, so you should have more 2 weeks than you do 1 week. But this is a great setup. I mean, I think this thing looks great if it does what we need it to do. Ooh. Yeah, I think 1880 is very cheap candles. We'll try. We'll see what we can get out of it. It looks good. All right, so that one definitely makes the watch list. Am I going to be live tomorrow morning? No, I'm not. Tomorrow's my kid's first day of school. I want to be there. Got to be there. What do I make all this money for? But y'all got it. Y'all have the best strategy, period. Oscar Health looks like it is probably going to see another leg down. You do have a box right here. That's what you're bouncing off of. So the 4 hour is going to answer your distress calls because, again, there is no promise at this point. You have I would say, kind of rather unusual setup. So you have a box up here. 1377 is your floor. Your 1430 is your trigger to go back up and possibly retest 1632. So to the downside, you would want to break beneath 1350 for continuation of the downside. Eric, please go to my playlist. If you are brand new, go to the Potterbox Workshop introduction. This will show you what I teach in the Potterbox Workshop, but it will also walk you through what kind of a guideline of what we're doing. That's 3 hours long. I would recommend putting this one on what is it? Yeah, playback speed. I would turn that bitch up and let it rip. And then from there, I'd go to the Potterbox breakdown, and then I'd go to this one, Potterbox strategy condensed, how to find them, all of that. Yeah, yeah, no problem, dude. For those of you guys who've been watching me, I do have the workshop on my website, and it comes with 6 months in the Discord. But I like for anybody who is going to do that to have obviously watched me for a couple weeks and made a good business decision. So, all right. TXN up. Yeah, let's see what we can. I actually, regardless of the fact that it failed my, so on the lower time frame, we had this mapped out and it played out perfectly. It did fail, right? And it did make a second high, but created a channel. So I'm going to get rid of all of this because this actually could set up for a day trade to the upside, right? above 181.64 and outside of 182.30, you're going to have a floor to go and recover at 184. And that's where you could go and shoot for 186. The workshop is 100% worth it. I've actually had people who took the workshop. Some of them obviously caught KSSS, but more than paid for. I mean, they're already making money. So, I mean, and everybody has their timeline, but I actually, yeah, never mind. I'm just going to leave that alone. I saw a video today where this influencer was like, you can't become profitable or make money in the market until you have at least 3 years in the game. And I'm like, I think you might be talking to kids, because like I've definitely taught people who are brand new and they've been able to actually withdraw money out of their account within 8 to 10 months of learning. 1,000% worth taking the workshop, bro. Yeah, I definitely poured everything I got into that shit, man, and it paid off. The first week after my live class, I made 50,000. Are you serious? Oh, you did you catch KSS? That's fucking wild, dude. All right, keep dropping them, Riley. So this one, I have everybody asking me about this one. It is up against the wall, finding itself with a whole bunch of resistance, struggling to hold onto its floor. It's spent weeks in this area, and I'm on the 24th. So basically, since mid-July all the way to the end of July, so half a month, sitting up against resistance. Ton of empty space, high short volume. So this is a candidate, to try, but it does have earnings. So if you took this one, I think it's either 1050, or you just say fuck it and try and shoot for 13 and 14. But it's a tough one. I have to admit it's tough, because I know that it does recover and it might take a couple weeks after that earnings. But I mean, it's definitely something you should be paying attention to. Um, oh fuck yeah. There was nowhere to enter in the promo code when I bought today. I don't think we have anything out right now. It's worth it. I have the workshop. It's 100%. It helps a lot. The best part is, oh, there's no guessing. Yeah. See, that's where 90% of the fear in the market comes from, is just not knowing. And that's true in life as well. Uh, if you don't know, you're more likely to be, a lot of people are scared of the dark because you can't see through it. But once you kind of figure out what's going on here, it is a machine. Feels a lot better. So this is definitely a weird one. So I think that I mean, you're at cost basis. So if you can punch down through that box and lose 237.50, I think you should be shooting all the way, shooting all the way. What a fucking piece of shit. Computer. About to drive this shit back to fucking South Carolina. Holy shit. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm back. Sucks. Damn, that sucks. Was Jay Diamond outside of my window? Nah. Fucking. I was looking to see if the recording's there. It might pop up a little bit later. This is really frustrating.